Hey Terraformers, welcome back. We are continuing on with our implementation. So we have CloudFront set up, we have the S3 bucket set up, but it is serving a website, but it could be a little bit better. We would like it to invalidate the cache when files change. Every time we change the contents of these files, it's going to upload those files, which is great. But the thing is, I want it to be very explicit. I want to be like, this is version 2 of the site, this is version 3 of the site. And when that happens, it should then only trigger the invalidation of the cache. And the reason why is that when we're invalidating the cache, we're doing that /*, and that says clear everything in the cache. And that's an expensive call. And also, if you're using CloudFront, it is copying a cached version to all these servers or these edge locations around the world. And so we only want to cache when we want to explicitly cache. And so I think the way we'll do that is we'll set up a content version. Also, Terratowns is going to expect a content version so that it knows when to update the main portal. So other people that are exploring are going to know when they can utilize it. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to create a new branch. Now, I was trying to do the CloudFront distribution first, but I realized we'll have to do that after this. So you didn't see me create this. I created this 7 minutes ago and gave up on it. But we're going to create a new issue, and we're going to set up content version. Okay, that's what we're going to do here. And we want to only change files when we set a content version. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create that. And we'll go ahead and create this development branch. Okay. And so I'm going to go here to our code, and on the left-hand side, we'll drop it down. And say setup content version. And your numbers are going to be a little bit different from mine because I created them out of order. So if you want to have the same order as me, you can create this ticket, or you can wait in the next video when we will review to create that again, okay? So we'll hit get pod there, and we'll just wait for that to spin up after we hit the continue. All right, so now that we're back, what I want to do is I want us to go into modules, and I really only want to push these changes when we explicitly tell it to. So even if we are changing the files, let's say we're working on this and we're working on our website, making lots of changes, I don't want it every time we do Terraform apply that it's going to push these here. Only when we want to push them by setting a new content version should it actually propagate. So let's make our way over to variables, or over here, and I'm going to set a content version. I'm going to just say 1, and we'll do that here as well. Equals 1. And we are going to need a new version, so I'm just going to go ask ChatGPT to do that for me. That's one thing it can actually do very well. So write a Terraform variable for content version that ensures it only uses positive integers starting at 1. Okay? And we'll give it a moment there to write that out for us. Looks good to me, so we'll copy that. And we're going to bring that into our module. I'll bring that down. We'll paste that in here. We'll say allow. And we want a little bit of this. I'm going to copy just those 3 lines. We'll go to our other variables here. And we'll paste this in. And so now we have a content version. We need to only trigger those life cycles in a particular case. So let's go over to the storage. And I want to pull up, these S3 object references, because there's something that we haven't really touched yet, and this has to do with life cycles. So somewhere here, life cycle, don't know if it'll show it here, but there's a thing in Terraform called Terraform resource lifecycle, I think it is, lifecycle here. Yeah, it should be this one here. So there's this thing called lifecycle, and the way it works is it allows you to control when a resource gets created, updated, or whatever. And so this is something that's really useful, and you can see there's a bunch of options. We have create before destroy, prevent destroy, ignore changes, replace triggered by, and a few other options. And so this is something that we're going to use. So I want to just dump it in our documentation very quickly. So we'll just go here, life cycle, changing the life cycle of resources. We'll go ahead and paste that in. And it says meta arguments, life cycle. Okay, so coming back over to our storage here, we want to set up a life cycle on here. And we want it to ignore whenever the E tags change, because if we don't ignore that, it's going to always, because every time we change a file, it's going to update that value. And so we don't really want to update on that. Now we did want to do that before, but now we don't. Okay, we still want the E tag to be set. We just don't want it to happen. We don't want this to trigger an update or plan. So let's just, we'd have to deploy our infrastructure to observe this first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment this out first so that we can observe it, okay? Well, actually, we'll comment it out. And we'll do a Terraform init here. Just bump up our font a bit. And now we'll do a Terraform apply auto approve. Okay, so we'll wait for this to deploy and we'll be back here in a moment. Content version is required, but no definition was found. So before we do that, let's just set a version here. So I'll go down here and we'll just say content version. I know we don't use it for anything. I don't think it'll complain. We'll just hit up here. And yeah, we'll wait for this to create, okay? All right, so it took a little bit of time, but that is now deployed. What we want to check here is that lifecycle thing we were doing. So if we go back over here, right, if we were to change this file, and we are going to, we'll go over to index.html, and we said this here, like, hello Terraformers. It should notice that it's changed and try to update it, right? Not the error one, but just that one. And there it goes, it's trying to change it. So we want to ignore it, so we're just going to do this, and we'll say ignore the E tags, because that is what is triggering it. And if we do that, okay, notice that nothing's changed. So that's what we want to happen. But now we want it to only trigger, when that content version changes, right? So the way we're going to do that is we have a content version, but we can't just put content version in here. That's not going to work. We have to have it tied to a resource. So we need some way to have a resource that is just bound to that variable that's not a real resource. And there's a way you can do that. Traditionally, you would have used null resource, but nowadays we use Terraform data. Null resource required you to bring in the null provider by HashiCorp. But they realized it was such a commonly used functionality. It's now in core, so you just do Terraform data. It does almost the exact same thing. And so we can just pretend that this is now a resource that we can watch things on or be triggered by. So we'll just do this and say content version. And so now if we change our version, this will be managed like a resource. The state of the variable will be in there. And then we can go up here and trigger our life cycle based on that. So we go trigger, let's go look at the documentation here. It would be replace trigger by, that's the one we want. So we'll do this. And now we can reference it. So I'm just looking here, just double checking, make sure my syntax is correct. Yep. And we'll do this. So we'll say Terraform, whoops. Terraform data content version output. You have to do output to get it there, the content version. But yeah, so the idea is that we have an input, we have an output. So the input is content version, the output is content version. It's the same thing. But again, this is just like a imaginary object. And so this is one way of using Terraform data. We're going to use it again when we have to do the Terraform invalidation cache for the CloudFront, okay? So what I'm going to do here is just type in clear, and we'll do a Terraform plan, and we'll see if it actually decides that it's going to change it. Now, it's the first time we're using content version, so it might trigger it for the first time. And it does, because Terraform data has never existed, but it's not creating a new, it's not triggering, at least it doesn't look like it's triggering an update on that, that content there. So we'll go back up here, just double check it's on the right file. Yes, but we didn't, yeah, so it should have, but we'll see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Terraform apply, auto approve, and we'll fiddle with it after this is done to, applying here. It should just take a second. There we go. Okay, and so now what I want to do is I want to see if it's noticed the change to that file. So we'll say Terraform plan. Okay, no changes, great. And I'm going to go here and now I'm just going to do this a few times. So we've changed the index.html file. We'll hit plan again. We'll see if it notices the change. It does not, because we haven't changed the content version. Let's go now try to change the content version and get the effect that we want. So we'll make sure we're in, not in the example one, but we're in the real one. I'm going to increment this to 2. And we'll hit up Terraform plan. So it should, in theory, trigger that data change. And it does not. Okay. Give me a second, okay? All right, so, I mean, it didn't say anything changed, but maybe it will change? Like, why didn't it even notice the version change? Var content version. Yeah, that seems right to me. I'm going to just try to do a Terraform apply and see what happens. Okay, maybe the plan is just lying to us. Okay. We'll try this here. No trigger. Okay, give me a second, all right? All right, I think I know what the problem is. We're changing the value here, but we're not referencing the variable. It's just hard-coded, eh? So that would fix that issue there. So that is in good shape. We're going to go ahead and do content var and try this again, apply. And so this time, you know, it should take effect. There we go. So it's going to push version 2. And notice here, it's now going to update the trigger because it knows that it's changed. So this is the effect that we wanted to occur. And so that is what we want. So we'll just say yes, and we'll go ahead and push those changes. But this is still not going to trigger the cache to update. So that's something else we'll have to figure out. Let's go back over to our documentation. And we have changing lifecycle of resources. We have Terraform data. Terraform data. Just type in Terraform data. And let's put that down here below. And that's not Terraform data. There we go. And I'll just paste that in here. And the idea is, so this is really the description I want in here, so I'm just going to paste it in. It explains why we would be using it. If you want to provide an example, you should go ahead and do that. I just haven't had dinner, so I'm getting a bit lightheaded here while working through this here. Yeah, so we're going to add this here, and this will be tag 32. So only upload index.html if a content version has changed. We can do that for error HTML as well. I'm just not going to, because once it's made, we're really never going to change that one. We really shouldn't be. But I'll go ahead and sync these changes. We'll go over to our pull requests. We will open a new pull request. We will drop down to this one, which is 32. And I will go and create that pull request. We'll create that pull request. we will squash and merge. While this is going, I'm going to just tear this down. Terraform, destroy, auto approve. Okay, so that is being destroyed in the background. We'll squash and merge, confirm and merge. And we'll go over to our code here, and we don't have to wait for this to finish. I'm going to just, well, actually we do because this is running. So we'll have to wait before we can tag this. So we'll wait a bit, okay? Okay, so that's been pulled down there. We'll go check out our main branch. We'll do git pull. And we'll go take a look at what we need to tag here. This needs to be 1.6. Let's just refresh, make sure that's the case. 1.60. So we'll do git tag 1.60, git push tags. And there we go. So I'll see you in the next one. We will be tackling the invalidation cache, and we're getting pretty close to wrapping up week 1. All right, ciao.